eThekwini Results Operations Center, and interesting province there. By and large, an ANC stronghold for years. Before that, the IFP, and it looks as if the IFP is in resurgence mode. Well, for a little bit more perspective on election results, we're now joined by political analyst Ongama Mtimka and Dr. Tshepang Molale, who's joining us via Zoom from Mafikeng in the Northwest Province. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Peter. All
right, maybe let's start with you, Tshepang. I just wonder, Northwest Province, what is that province telling us? It seems that if we look at Limpopo, ANC stronghold, and it's more of the same.
Yeah, the picture here in Northwest, Peter, I will tell you that we are seeing ANC doing quite well in the province. Already there are around 45% of the vote that has been counted, but we are already beginning to see the ANC still retaining some of the awards and councils which we thought perhaps they could have been offset to other political parties. I would make the example here of Tshepang local municipality, which was a hotly contested municipality. Peter, this is a municipality which took the community who formed the concerned citizens, and then they took the municipality to court. And actually, by way of a court order, forcing that municipality to, they take control over the water treatment plant that was run by the municipality, then being given the authority to run it themselves and appoint a service provider who they deemed suitable. Of course, this was, one victory for citizens, because they were complaining about the complacency and the lack of service delivery on that score of water treatment in that municipality. So, but we saw that although Freedom Fund Plus has done fairly well there, the municipality still will be controlled by the ANC after 100% of the votes counted there. I would also talk about your JB Bucks local municipality, where by the last election we saw the EFF doing quite well in the municipality, as well as the DA. Of course, it was run by the ANC, but by a very small margin. But now we see it now, with the little of the vote that is coming in, the ANC is in the lead, and quite shockingly or surprisingly, Freedom Fund Plus is now, coming into making inroads in the municipality, offsetting the EFF, and also now, trickling a little behind the DA, and now with the ANC leading the municipality. So I forgot to say that it's quite surprising. We also expected independent candidates to be doing fairly well in the province, judging by the fact that there are about more than 150 independent candidates in this province, but only to see that they are, trickling behind these political parties. But of course, this could also be because of the fact that they were only contesting awards and not contesting the PRCs.
If service delivery issues are again the theme that's playing out across the country and in the Northwest, why is the ANC enjoying this much support? Is it a loyalty vote, or what is it?
Well, we're talking about around 600,000 plus voters in the Northwest who came in to vote out of 1.6 million registered voters in the province. So when you look at the numbers there, you would see, definitely you would see that more and more citizens did not go out in their numbers to go and vote. And this is an indictment, Peter, on the political parties, including the ANC, particularly because there have been so many challenges and issues in this province. I mean, about 13 municipalities having been placed under administration. When you go by the numbers, since as far back as 2015 and 2016 when the council started. So every year we've been having these municipalities being placed under administration, indicating serious capacity issues, maladministration. I mean, the biggest scandal insofar as maladministration is concerned is the VBS scandal, where we saw about 4 of our municipalities in the province investing millions of rands into those municipalities one of the municipalities, in fact, having invested about 150 million, and that is Dr. Mtimka. So you can see that judging by these service delivery issues, if we're to say the ANC enjoys support, I would doubt that, since it's not even half of the registered voters who even turned out to go and vote yesterday.
So it will be a very difficult mandate in that it doesn't enjoy as much support as it ought to, even though you are the controlling party. Ongama, let me turn to you, and I'm curious about KwaZulu-Natal. We're seeing this surge from the Inkatha Freedom Party. What is that about? Is it the misfortunes of the ANC and the DA and the NFP maybe? Or is it that they have a strong, compelling message that's resonating with its voters once again?
I think there's a number of factors that are at play here. If you look at national politics, in the politics of the ANC, the loss of power by KZN in the top leadership structure of the ANC. And obviously, this election happens at a time when action has finally been taken against former President Jacob Zuma. And if you look at the growth of the ANC in the post-Polokwane period, it was mainly driven by big numbers from KZN. So one can anticipate that displeasure with the party there will result in benefits for others. And then obviously reality is multi-layered. There's the NFP factor that it failed to contest elections in 2016, and I don't think it actually came back from that. I see it's getting some significant numbers of votes and seats, currently sitting, for example, at a roughly 7 seats, but it's hardly 3% in terms of its share of the vote. So the NFP factor is playing a role. And then lastly, again, going back to ANC politics, there's also the issue of candidate selection processes that alienated certain members or certain communities, which resulted in independent candidates or other small players that are eating out on the ANC. I heard a lot of the groups, for example, that are city-based, municipal-based parties that are playing a role, with independents currently sitting at 4 seats within KZN. So it's an interesting number of dynamics that are at play there.
All right, a question for both of you. eThekwini Metro, what's that story going to be?
eThekwini is very interesting. In the recent few hours, I haven't looked at it, but that's where the middle class starts punishing the dominant party. In fact, I expect that the biggest driver of loss of support for the ANC can be expected to come from eThekwini if the trend around metros being the, a terrain of struggle where there's fiercest competition, it's going to be, I think, fought out there.
All right. So, Tshepang, what are your thoughts about eThekwini? Because we've just come from there, and it seems again this pattern of the urban story. The casualties are the two major parties.
Yes, eThekwini, I would like to agree. I mean, we're looking at the middle class, more of the liberal voters punishing the ANC there, and it most likely would, follow suit on the direction that has been heralded by metros like Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, Tshwane, Johannesburg, and perhaps putting us into conversations of coalition politics where these opposing parties would just want to gang up and eat the elephant piece by piece that is offsetting the ANC and trying to form coalition governments that are effectively going to make the ANC an opposition party.
A question for the both of you. If service delivery is the issue that most people have on their lips, the Democratic Alliance has by and large been quite successful in the areas that they've had control over, and yet they're getting punished. Why is that? Has that got nothing to do with service delivery and all about race? Let me start with you, Tshepang.
You are quite correct, Peter. If we're going to make the example of Midval in Gauteng, for instance, Midval, the DA has been doing quite well in that municipality. In 2016, we saw them having the controlling vote and having around 15 seats, if my calculations are correct. And we saw them now coming, increasing their numbers here, getting more than the seats that they got. So they've been doing quite well. Clean audits, qualified audits in that municipality also, as well as some municipalities in the Western Cape. But it would seem that a majority, people are not really comfortable with that political party. I think many people are lost in rhetorics. When they view political parties, all they hear is rhetorics. And this is unfair on the part of this political party, judging by how well they've run some of their councils, getting even good clean audits as far as the latest Auditor General's reports. But it would see that some people still have hope in political parties such as the ANC. There are now, today we are even speaking about Action SA, which is now, as I heard you earlier say, it could be the EFF story, repeating the EFF story as it did last year, Action SA in Gauteng, particularly in Tshwane or in Johannesburg. So people may not be comfortable with the EFF, particularly, or possibly could also be because of race politics.
Agree. Why is the DA getting punished when actually, if we're critical about their record, they haven't done half a bad job?
Sure. So I think there are a number of factors here. The first one actually being the fact that that's not how it's judged by the rest of the population. So it is succeeding indeed, but what is its Achilles heel is the extent to which it is transforming in order to address issues of the majority. So that's an issue because the DA first consolidated its position in South Africa in 2004 as a party of with minority interests, and its stance on and its policy offering is along those lines. But the other factor we must not forget are the internal political dynamics of the Democratic Alliance. It's now facing the same trajectory that the ANC has, as far as, for example, first it lost the right within the party as a result of the conference in which diversity became part of the values of the party. And then, out of panic, in my view, it responded by attempting to pull back from that trajectory, which was aimed at becoming broad church so that you could attract the majority of the support base. Now what they've done is they have alienated a significant number of the black middle class and in fact some of the white support base, which is more liberal and more open to a more inclusive society in South Africa. Now they are being punished by that group. So some of it is the internal political factors of the party that are resulting in it losing some significant ground.
All right, and that's clearly much more important than some of the service delivery issues. And I guess you've got to vote with your heart as well, more than just your mind in some of these issues. We'll continue to explore, but let's